Welcome to Nerdities. Bitches.
Hello, window lickers. It is I, Justin, bringing much audio fun to your ear holes. This is the debut of our new show. Vin and I, we're big fans of the occults, conspiracies, everything that makes life fun, and Mike is completely against it. So I was like, hey, you know, we should do a show where Vin and I team up, because it doesn't ever really happen, against Mike. And see if maybe we could convince him of some of these things that Vin and I find to potentially be true.
I'm going to call it right now. You two are going to argue with each other more than I'm going to argue with either one of you.
Potentially.
You're giving Alan Parrish's dad vibes off right now.
Now, I'd like to welcome you to Vin and Justin's Tinfoil Hat Society. I am co-host of the show. Justin is always joined by my newest co-host.
Is that me?
That's you, bud.
Oh, Vin.
And on our panel, boys,
Panel up.
who you be?
I'm Mike. I'm barely here. I'm here in body, if nothing else.
And then?
I'm Kyle, and you know what? I think it was really honorable of you to put Vin's name first in the intro, given the fact that you're going to be doing most of the talking.
I like that you pick up on my subtleties.
Yeah.
So, in normal Vin fashion, I was like, hey man, why don't you take the lead on the first show? You come up with the strong argument. What's the first topic we're going to do? You throw out some information there, and we'll work on it. And Vin's like, oh, space is fake. Now, Mike had mentioned when we...
Off the bat, there's a fucking winner.
Yeah, well, that was Mike's attitude. And even I have a hard time believing that space is fake. Because I don't believe space is fake.
It's a hard time, then. It's a really hard time to do it.
So, I was like, all right, Vin, ball's in your hands. And I gave him...
Apparently that's what he did.
I gave him the week, and he was like, I can only get info by Saturday. I was like, okay, because you're not sitting in your apartment at night. It's fine. It takes like 20 minutes, but we're good.
Time out. Megan, what time did I fall asleep last night?
Riveting.
10:45. 10:45 p.m.
Congratulations.
No bathroom breaks in there?
Yeah, you don't poop throughout the day?
No, well, I get home and I just fall asleep.
That's good.
Yep.
All right. So Saturday comes and Vin's like, I can't find anything. Like, all right.
Well, no, that's not what I said. I said everything is flat Earth.
Yes.
Yes.
Now anything conspiracy related is flat Earth.
No.
Is that going to be the second show?
Flat Earth's going to take a bit.
Second and last show, Flat Earth.
Flat Earth's going to take a bit to get to.
I'll take the moniker of fighting for flat Earth. I'll go read up on it.
Okay.
I would love if my role on this show is to pick the topics, or the order of the topips.
Oh, that'd be
We
dope.
could do that.
Because, oh boy, I pick some shit that's going to piss Mike off.
So,
have any of you guys ever watched a flat Earth video, by the way?
yeah, let me get through this. Let me get through this intro. This show is not on Flat Earth.
Intro.
So Vin's like, I can't do it. Justin dusts up his fucking cape and comes in to save the day. And I'm like, you know what? We'll keep the concept around space.
Yeah.
And I little softball pitch to Vin because I knew he already believes that the moon landing is absolutely fake.
The first one, yeah.
Right. Then I suggested we talk about the Black Knight satellite and Planet X.
Okay. before you break down those topics, I gotta ask this question because I gotta know. Then you said the first moon landing, yes, was fake.
Yeah.
So before we get into the facts of why these things are fake, I gotta know, when do you think we really landed on the moon?
Well, apparently we've only been there. There's only been 4 trips, right?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I was doing a little research there. There hasn't been that many trips, and like, there's that funny dude, just a NASA engineer. Video's maybe 2 years old. He said, "We'd love to get back to the moon, but we destroyed the technology. Teehee. Can't wait to get to Mars. Teehee." All in one sentence. Real fun stuff. When do I think we went to the moon? There's going to the moon serves no purpose. I don't know.
That's not the question. No, that's not the question. That is not the question. Please stick to the question.
1947.
It's reverse.
That's the kind of show we're looking forward to today.
47.
Wasn't it 69?
69.
The original moon landing was 69.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, the moon landing happened in the summer of 69?
Yes.
Yeah, July.
Yeah.
Yes. Not the 40s. It wasn't a thing then. Vinny...
What, 69?
What?
They did it then. That's when they started it.
What? Landing on the moon in the 40s? No. The 40s, landing on the moon. Pay attention. Well, you're not helping your case here. So the belief is that the moon landing that was broadcast on television was set up. It was all done in a studio. Not as a wool over the eyes of the American public, but as the space race was very much a real thing. And whoever got to the moon first was going to look victorious, right? So, a bit of saber rattling, and we have conspiracy theorists who believe that the video was made, broadcasted, just to make it look like we got there, ahead of when we actually got there. Now, if you ask anybody that was involved in that mission, you're probably going to get punched in the face if you say...
Not anybody. If you ask one specific person, you're going to get punched in the face. If you ask anybody involved with it, you're probably going to get a roll of the eyes, and then, I don't have time for this shit. You know how many times a day I get this question?
Yeah.
Well, the guy who got slugged by Buzz Aldrin, I think anybody would have punched him.
Well, yeah.
Sir? Would you like to buy this insurance?
Yes, stupid question. All right, Vin. So I set it up for you. I set up the popular belief and reasoning behind it being faked. What is your personal take?
No, yeah, they definitely filmed it somewhere. There's no way. Have you ever flown on a plane? Anyone ever flown on a plane?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. What's your cell service like?
I usually turn my cell phone off because I'm not an asshole.
Okay. So for those who don't know, you get no cell service. You cannot make phone calls on an airplane.
Okay.
No thing.
You can.
You can't.
You can now.
You can, but you have to pay like a shit ton of money.
Don't say you can't, though.
Mike is Wi-Fi.
Mike
With apps and stuff now you can.
Yeah, but Mike is absolutely...
Not from cell phones in like 2000.
Mike's going to find holes in your defense, and that's going to be one of them. Don't say that you can't...
Well, thank you for keeping me honest. But like, for example, cell phones from like the 2000s cannot make cell phone calls on an airplane.
Early phones, yes. Early cell phones.
They want to tell you in 1969, after they went through the Van Allen belt, that Fry's technology, they landed on the moon, called Nixon, and was like, did it. That's one.
Well, they didn't have a direct second-to-second conversation with him. There was a long lag because the signal was being bounced from the surface of the moon to a satellite back down to the ground.
So you're saying the television broadcast where we see Nixon talking to them was a televised event where they give you the illusion it was happening in real time?
No, I'm saying it's going to take a second or two for radio frequency like that to travel, but it's definitely... When you fly, it has nothing to do with a cell phone signal. It's not the strength of signal. It's the fact that there are no towers close enough to where you are to pick up signal.
Right.
When you're using Wi-Fi on a plane, it's because they have satellite info. They have satellite online.
Satellite.
To send that information. I don't see that as an argument.
Well, we're talking about 1969 now.
Yeah, it's just radio signals.
Right.
Radio signals travel pretty much infinitely, if I know correctly. So It won't be a problem to bounce a signal from the moon to a satellite to the White House.
In 1969?
Yeah.
Yeah, the technology was there to do that.
Yeah.
Through the Van Allen belt. Have you read about the Van Allen belt?
Yes, it's a radiation field.
Yeah. And we just kind of popped through there. Everything stayed fine, and we're just going to go with that.
I'm no rocket surgeon, but I'm pretty sure there's shielding to help prevent the radiation.
Shielding.
Not in the terms of like Star Wars shielding.
Like lead.
Lead
Yes. Shielding.
Things that we know block radiation. Now,
okay.
I can argue for Vinny that I very much think that the government would pull something to make it look like we got there ahead of schedule.
Of course they would.
It's a thing. It's a tactic.
They do anything.
Yeah.
They've released viruses that we know of.
Right.
They've done horrendous stuff.
So it's not
what can you prove they did?
It's not far-fetched to think that this is a plausible concept, right?
Mm.
However, you have the astronauts themselves who are very adamant about we were fucking up there. And I tend not to argue it because there's another side to this where a few of the astronauts on the mission mentioned seeing craft out in space when they were heading to the moon. I don't think that story is going to be made up if this was all done on a soundstage.
Okay. Now let's say they weren't just paid off to lie for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Is it possible that they were hypnotized into believing that what they experienced was real?
Program?
That also plausible.
Well, yeah, because I did do some research. So apparently, under the air quotes moon lander, there's no burn marks from when they landed, and they explained it away with, well, they hovered for a little bit.
There wouldn't be burn marks.
There wouldn't be burn marks.
No, there wouldn't.
Well, I'm asking why.
Because they're not using retro rockets to land on the moon.
What rockets are they using? You have other rockets?
They're using compressed air just to stabilize the landing. That's not a hard landing.
Okay. And then you look at the craft itself. That looks like I made it with aluminum foil, and I grabbed some air conditioning and put some legs on it. We're to believe that they used that to go to and fro.
Please tell me your argument isn't, boy, doesn't that look shoddy.
Well, I mean...
Boy, doesn't this argument look shoddy.
Have you looked at it? It looks like they made it on the space or Lost in Space. It doesn't look like an actual piece of technology.
I'll give it this. It doesn't look like they were expecting them to come back alive.
No.
Because that design and the way it was put together was fairly slapdash.
And then we could pivot to the video I sent that you guys, you don't see cables, but
You don't see
there's
cables.
a couple of things.
You don't see cables.
Listen, I'll explain to you what, because if you look at the video around the 22-second mark, when the guy falls over, you'll see a ping over his shoulder. Now, if you watch the whole video, you don't see pings anywhere else other than where the astronaut's shoulders are. And when he falls, there's certain instances where he looks like he's being held up, which makes it seem like he's on fucking wires. And that's another thing that like people are pretty adamant about with it, that it just doesn't look like they're actually moonwalking. Because I think they show things in like zero gravity and even in when they're walking like underwater, doesn't look the same.
It's not going to be the same. It doesn't have the same gravity as being underwater.
It's trying to be close to what the atmosphere would be like on the, or lack thereof, on the moon.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna give you the exact result, right?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily, the layman does not necessarily know how the physics are going to work up there. So it is easy to question whether the movement would be the way it comes off.
And I got a counter to that whole he's on strings thingy.
Sure.
Okay, you're saying that there's light coming off where he's hitched on his shoulders. Why wouldn't there be light coming off where he's hitched on his feet? Because he definitely wasn't sitting horizontal like that without some kind of support for his feet. If he's wired up, he's not just wired at the shoulders. He's in like an Iron Man rig.
I would say, I think it would, where do they do the harnesses? I think they're around the waist, right? I think they do it around the waist. And
They need at least 4 pick points. They'd probably need 6 pick points. So why aren't there other lights flashing for where the harness is there?
I don't know, but there's no other pings flashing anywhere else on the screen other than Astro.
Hi, Nuggets.
And
Don't
again,
listen to this show. You're not going to learn anything.
and again, when he falls over and he's like, I think he's just like being held up. It's not even like he's on the ground for a couple seconds. So I don't know. You can explain all you want. It doesn't look like a legitimate moon video.
To me, it looks like a guy who fell over with a bunch of stuff on his stomach, and there's not a lot of gravity pushing that stuff down, so it's just kind of stopped there. He's a balloon in that moment. If you drop a balloon that's shaped like a person, that's got a real barrel chest, it's just going to sit on that area.
So he walked. I walk. Oh, I fell over. Mission Impossible. Now I hit the ground.
He's in all of that gear, and I don't care how light it is in that gravity. That looks awkward.
Yeah,
He falls over.
That suit was...
Because it must be hard to walk in that.
Yeah, that suit was clunky.
Yeah.
Definitely clunky.
My favorite part of the conspiracy is that Roman Polanski is the man responsible for...
Roman Polanski, but that's not the favored one. The favored one is Stanley Kubrick.
I meant Kubrick, yeah.
Space Odyssey?
That's a pull. Right?
That makes sense for them to pull that into there, because he's a stickler for perfection. So the only way they can get it perfect is by get somebody in there who would take as many shots as it took. They have to get the perfect director, someone who's going to go over every detail, because we can't miss anything. Like there's no stars in the background. Yeah, that's something a perfect director would miss. Or it's just what happens when you try and film out in space with shitty cameras.
Yeah. And I was never worried about the stars and shit, but it just was like how they're walking and the whole... I find spacesuits to be absurd. Well, do you know what happens to the human body within 3 months in outer space?
Shifting of organs.
You die. You pretty much die. Mm-hmm. Things start shutting down after like a week. It's not good. You can run on the treadmill all you want. Can't be out there that long. And between that, the tech that they had, and then that NASA engineer a couple of years ago said, we'd love to get back to the moon, but we destroyed the technology. Doi, can't wait to get to Mars. Doi. And people explain that away by just saying, oh, well, it's cheaper just to destroy the technology. That guy must have misspoke, yada, yada, yada. What is that about?
That was a guy.
Explain that one to me.
That was a dude slipping up.
That was a dude slipping up, right?
Yeah.
Well,
okay, I want to know exactly how he said this, because you've now said it two different ways. First he was laughing, then he was doying. Like, was that legitimately what he said, or are you paraphrasing the fact that he said, we don't have the technology anymore, and it's cheaper to do it this way?
So
I'm paraphrasing.
He's paraphrasing the laughter.
Verbatim, that's pretty much what he said.
It's pretty close to what he said. It was, we'd love to get back to the moon, but we destroyed that technology. But that is the thing, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up fake moon landing here. The moon is a whole nother subject for another day.
Well, I'll leave you with this last one. There was an Apollo mission. It blew up in the sky, right? They didn't make it. Now, everyone on board of that mission, all of them, 4 people, they all have twins. No one knew about their twins prior to takeoff.
Why are you... Vincent, we have 3 topics we already discussed.
Dude,
you don't get to bring.
I'll leave you with that when you talk about space.
Bring it in. Bring it in another time. That's a whole other episode.
It's brought out. It's out there.
It's another episode. We don't need to talk about
Give it a goog.
We're wrapping up.
I don't know if Mike's ignoring me now or he's looking it up himself.
He's looking it up.
I have a whole other episode idea I just thought of.
So
these down.
We're gonna close up moon landing here. Vin still believes that it is faked. Mike, I'm assuming 99% sure it's real, and I'm going to stick with I believe it was possible that the government could have manufactured something, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I think the logical middle ground, Justin, is what you brought up earlier, is that the potential for the government to have staged what appeared to be the moon landing in order to quote unquote win the space race.
Right.
I think that's a possibility. I don't think it's a possibility that we never actually landed on the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it happened, but it might have happened at a later time.
And
I don't necessarily mean like later as in like a month later. I mean like we could have just been hours off.
Well, it could happen at that time. It's physically impossible to bring fucking cameras and a telephone to talk to the fucking...
Okay, I just sent everybody a video from the show Adam Ruins Everything. I don't know if you ever watched that show. It's a very fact-based show where they like to cite...
I like Adam Ruins Everything,
things.
But I believe that it's also a show that's put out there to make people not question specific things.
Yeah.
That's I find it's a show that's put out there to give you the information to question things properly. Like the information they give in here that irrefutably proves there was a moon landing.
There was a moon landing.
Right.
Yes, in 1969.
I'm not arguing that didn't happen.
They totally could have, but I don't think we had cameras or telephones to fucking talk.
They literally tell you stuff in this 5.5 minutes worth of video that you can prove yourself there was a moon landing.
I think
even
there could have even been a filmed moon landing to use as a backup if things didn't work out correctly. Could be also another scenario. I do think that there was something filmed to be used as a, hey, we did it, just in case.
That's not crazy.
Right.
Because, yes, knowing the government, there's a lot of redundancies. But...
Because nothing would have hurt more than us promising to have done it and not have done it, or not done it in the time frame that we had set, and to look like fucking failures in the eyes of the world.
Yeah. So what you're saying is they probably sent them up there. They didn't come back. They cloned them in the secret Area 51 lab.
No, didn't say that. Did not.
Wait, I'm not done. You did say that. I'm. So you're saying, paraphrasing. Thank you. So you're saying they cloned them in a lab, brought them back, MK Ultra'd them to think that they had that experience, and then brought him into the Bohemian Grove? Yes or yes?
No. No.
That's right.
All right. Next up, the Black Knight satellite. The Black Knight satellite conspiracy theory claims that a spacecraft of extraterrestrial origin is in near polar orbit of the Earth, and that NASA is covering up its existence and origin. Now, that's not...
The big black rock? The big long black rock?
No, that's Oumuamua. That's not the Black Knight satellite story that I grew up hearing. It's very much ours. It's a Earth-based satellite. Just no one claims ownership of the fucking thing. And that it has been orbiting for a long, long ass time. I absolutely believe that over it's an extraterrestrial satellite.
So, so are you thinking then that like an ancient civilization that had maybe not our level of technology, but higher levels of technology before the Dark Ages, say, were able to get a satellite up into orbit, and that's why no nations that exist today can claim it?
I think that it comes from a shadow government more than a previous society.
Gotcha.
Shadow government. Justin, likey.
If something like this is out there, it's probably it's more likely a corporation.
It very well could be, but no one country has laid claim to this fucking thing. And it could be a corporation, but a corporation not a fucking gas company or something like that. I think it's more along the line of
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
You never know.
A very wealthy elite.
BlackRock.
Sure.
Something like that. Yeah, Vanguard. One of those big names.
Right. That's my belief on the Black Knight satellite. It was a fun...
In Intergalactic Society, they sent over a satellite. We don't know what it is because we don't have what is it? Balbazar's element 153. Maybe it's an element we don't know. Maybe it's emitting a frequency we don't know or know how to track, how to read. I
mean, it could be that. I don't think if the civilization had the technology to just drop it and leave it, it would be visible. There are videos out there of this object orbiting us. It's very chunky.
Well, you know about the have you ever heard of the Vedas? I probably have talked to you guys about this. The Vedas are like an ancient Indian text.
Yeah.
They have in the text they talk about something called Vimanas, which are flying machines or flying temples. And this was many, many moons ago, thousands of years ago. This was written. So it wouldn't be impossible that an ancient civilization did have a satellite go at their floating temples.
Ancient civilizations and ancient aliens is a whole nother show.
I know. Hold on. Let me get my hair. I should have got my hair set up.
I'm not saying it's aliens. Okay, with this satellite, details. How far away is it sitting? Wait, the hair looks really good. How much detail do we have on it? Do we have a structure of it, or is it still just something in the distance that we have to figure out?
It orbits the planet. You can catch videos of it. It is pretty much, it looks like a fucking satellite. It's not too far off from any of the satellites that any of the nation's space programs would throw out there.
Yeah, there are like hundreds of satellites still in orbit, right?
Right. Yeah.
Thousands.
Thousands?
Yeah, just fucking, it's junk
ridiculous.
up
Yeah, when I went to Cherry Springs, Pennsylvania, it's like the best stargazing place in the lower 48. And all day, or all night rather, you just shooting by, just satellite after satellite after satellite. It's nuts.
there. Yeah. There's a lot of junk up there. I just find it, I find it interesting that, like, everyone's quietly aware of it, just no one's like, yeah, it's fucking ours.
That means they know, dude.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's probably up there from a more elite.
Yeah.
If it's up there as a satellite doing everything a satellite does except for broadcast a signal, then it's kind of weird. If it's not on, it's waiting to be turned on.
Right. Which is awkward, right?
It's weird, like not knowing enough about this thing.
Yeah.
It's just a scary sword of Damocles.
Yeah.
Why don't we send a rocket up there to excavate it?
It's not an
It's not a fucking rock, bro. It's like, I mean, a machine satellite, not like a.
That's what I'm saying. Well, send a rocket up there, see what it is.
I mean, it's not doing any harm, so no one's been like, I don't.
Well,
I mean,
the moon doesn't do any harm, but we send people there for some reason.
Does it?
Collect rocks.
Does it not do any harm? That's another show.
Oh, the interior of the moon being a Death Star?
Hey, that's another show.
You're just teasing the next dozen shows you guys are going to do.
All right, so Black Knight satellite. Mike, can you get on board with that?
I don't know much about it. It's not a crazy notion that there's a satellite up there that somebody launched into space. Like, it's expensive to launch a satellite, but it's not prohibitively expensive.
No.
If you wanted to do it on the sly to control something, yeah, you can get that money together. Country, yeah. There could easily be just one. That's my question on the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. Just one satellite up there that we don't know what's going on with it?
Apparently, this is like the only unchecked satellite. Everything else is at least bouncing off some kind of frequency that it's like, oh, that's what that's for. Oh, that's the so-and-so's. That's that one. That's what this is for. This thing's just fucking orbiting, doing whatever.
Or there's been so many satellites out there over the years that they've lost track of one. It's like, oh, all this hubbub over one that used to broadcast DirecTV, and it just got outside of
Could be. The
range.
thing, though, is the Black Knight satellite, it was like, I think it was the 90s when it was first fucking picked up.
It wasn't as much.
Yeah.
Nearly as many.
All right.
I would say I'm down to believe either version of that, because we'll get into this in future shows, I'm sure, but if aliens do exist and they have technology comparable to or exceeding our own technology, right? It would have to be exceeding our own if they're going to make their way to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was them, I would absolutely leave a satellite to monitor the population on the planet.
Yeah.
So, teasing a future show, if we were to believe that they do exist, then I would therefore believe that they'd be capable of leaving a satellite behind.
Not completely out of the realm.
Nothing insane about unknown satellite.
Right. Planet X. The hypothetical 9th planet of our solar system. Why? You making faces?
Nibiru?
Yes. Long held as one of the biggest conspiracy theories in the interwebs, the planet Nibiru was going to come hurtling out of its planetary rotation to the sun and come smashing into Earth like 500 times already. But every time, people were like, my calculations were off. It's like another 100 years.
What is it? Jupiter and Uranus always protects us from meteors or some shit?
Well, they're so massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a full blown planet. This is not a meteor.
Are we sure it's a planet, Justin?
Well, then I'm
Sure,
glad you
okay.
asked.
And just to be clear, you're not counting dwarf planets in your count,
No.
right? That's why I made the face. I just had to count them all in my head.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate over what is and isn't a fucking planet and yada yada yada.
So what is supposedly, I don't want to uncross my arms, I would be doing air quotes right now, supposedly going on with Planet X? Where would it lie in the solar system?
Well, Michael,
Between
glad
where
you
and where?
glad you asked. So for the longest time, most people in the scientific community were like, "Nah, bro." Well, it seems over at Caltech, researchers have found mathematical evidence suggesting that there may be a Planet X deep in the solar system. This hypothetical Neptune-sized planet orbits our sun in a highly elongated orbit far beyond Pluto. The object, which the researchers have nicknamed Planet 9, could have a mass about 10 times that of Earth and orbit about 20 times farther from the sun on average than Neptune. It may take between 10,000 and 20,000 Earth years to make one full orbit around the sun. I'd like to state from the scientists here, this announcement does not mean there's a new planet in our solar system. The existence of this distant world is only theoretical at this point, and no direct observation of the object nicknamed Planet 9 have been made.
See now, based on that information, this is the most plausible theory of the night. Because space is so vast, and there could be something rotating around the sun, but just so far away that it's taken us this long to notice the pattern of rotation.
Sure, especially if it's got an elongated rotation.
Yeah. It's a massive rotation around the sun. It's not big in comparison to something like, what is it, 1,000 years, 500 years since we've verified a handful of planets.
Right.
We've had the technology to do so. So this thing out in the middle of nowhere that's doing this path and it's big enough to classify as a planet,
Yes.
I could see that.
Especially if it's a 10,000 Earth year to its year.
Yeah.
Which means
The idea
that
that it would,
since we've been observing the sky, we could have potentially never fucking seen this thing to begin with.
yeah.
And
Well,
by observing the sky, I mean with like the technology to do so. Even the cavemen looked up and were like, "Ooh, star."
Yeah, it wouldn't even show up as a... If something like Jupiter
Right.
takes very specific situation for you to be able to see it in the daytime, or Saturn, then yeah.
Yeah. I'm not up against the idea that there is another planet out there. What I am up against is the fact that this planet would somehow come flying out of its orbit and smash into our planet.
Yeah, that is fucking absurd, this concept. They like, when you lay that out as part of this, I couldn't fathom why someone would bring that into it. Like, if there's a planetoid that we haven't discovered yet, it is so far out, and it is such a wide revolution that we will never have anything to do with it until we are all just atoms being sucked into a black hole.
Yeah. But I think sorry, Kyle. I think the concept of this whole thing helps spur the idea of incursions in Marvel Comics. Like, I think someone in the office caught wind of this planet's gonna smash into ours. It was like, oh, we gotta fucking do something with this.
You know, I want to see that on a page. Just figure out an idea. Figure out a reason why two planets would smash into each other, and then draw it.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, so
So what I was gonna say is the whole flying out of its orbit thing. I mean, like, what if? Because you said it's an elongated orbit, right? What if it's an irregular or an unstable orbit? What if it's an orbit that is impacted by the gravity of adjacent planets? If it's an elongated orbit, that means at certain points in its orbit, it would be closer to other planets than at other times during its orbit. So what if it's possible for that planet to be shifted off of its orbit by the gravitational forces of adjacent planets? Because I would think that would really be the only way it would ever hit Earth.
It would have to, again, I'm no astrophysicist here, but you'd need a hell of a gravitational pull to drag something like that far off its path.
Well, it depends on the mass of the planet. Not just the size of the planet.
You would need a perfect storm of like it passing within reach of the size of the planet that it's about to rub up against, and like the impact of like a fucking Earth killer asteroid to help move that thing far enough off that it would be on some sort of collision course for our planet.
I guess.
Well, whatchamacallit, gravity's still technically a theory. I think that's why their math is always fucked up, right? Because otherwise, they'd have a better handle on it. Also, the Sumerians, they knew about Planet X, aka Nibiru.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, if its rotation is every 10,000 years, it's not unheard of that, like, a prior civilization could have, like, noticed its presence up there, right? But it would explain why, like, in the modern times, we've yet to, like, physically witness this thing.
Yeah.
What do you know about the elongated rotation, or the elongated orbit, yeah. Like, I'm trying to visualize it, and by elongated, they don't mean like it'll come in tighter to the sun, go out, and then come back in. It's not like a narrow orbit, right? It's because that seems like an insane concept. That's the only way.
I think it means that it rotates so far out.
Yeah.
That it's like it's completely off the rotation of the rest of the solar system.
Okay. Whereas we're all, if you're looking at the solar system as a turntable, we're all relatively close to being part of the record.
Right.
Whereas this thing could be going around the center in any possible way. It's just so wacky at this point.
It's taking like a bigger loop around the record.
Yeah.
Hey.
Out of all the theories, this one's actually pretty fun.
See? I promised you. It wasn't all gonna be you're stupid.
The planet that could smash an Earth is the most fun.
Is this where the blonde-haired giants came from, you think?
Vinny, stop it. We have a podcast with future episodes. The last bit I have here for the night is an incident that happened over the weekend, I believe, in Miami.
Oh, dude.
Did you guys see/hear about this?
This is a fun thing to do. The last story be something recent. That would be pretty interesting.
No.
But no, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
Okay. So the story lays out like this. There was some youths in a mall shooting fireworks at each other, thus causing about 60 police cars to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the story given by the officials. There are witnesses from the mall who said that is not what fucking happened. And there are claims that being similar to the ones that were seen in Las Vegas a few months ago,
People's backyard?
were spotted at the mall, and it caused a fucking panic.
Yep.
Thus, the huge police response. I don't care what you tell me, but like half a dozen kids shooting fireworks off at each other, you're not calling all fucking cars.
Well, in the moment, whoever made the call, if it was shots fired at the mall.
Bro, go ahead and you can watch clips of the aerial views. It's the most ridiculous amount of fucking police cars I've ever seen on a scene to anything ever. Like it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Well, if 60 is the real number,
I'm going.
That is a disgusting number.
Well over 25 fucking cop cars.
Where was this?
Miami.
Mall, Miami, Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a video where there was just like an aerial view, and they circled this area, and they go, "Did you see it?"
Yeah. There's some shoddy footage out there that like shows a being. I don't know. I'm not saying I believe the shitty looking footage. What I do know is that like there's footage of the cops single filing, like heading into the area, and like concerned looking, and not like your normal, oh, these are perps. This was like, there's a few faces on them. They're like, what are we even fucking doing?
Yeah.
Okay. I just watched the video footage of the thing walking. It's like in a courtyard or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to be. It didn't look like a human or a humanoid form. It didn't look like an alien. It looked like fucking balloons floating by.
Yeah.
So
again, I'm not going by that.
That was nonsense.
I am going by the fucking ridiculous amount of police cars. I've never seen anything like it. So even if I don't buy for 1 second it was kids shooting off fireworks.
So I saw a Twitter video. A guy claimed he was there, and so grain of salt. He said that he heard people shouting and running, and he grabbed his girl by the hand, and they started running. And when they looked back, they saw like shadows. Is how he described it. He's like, I don't know what the fuck it was. He's like, but I looked back, it looked like giant shadows, and I kept running. Because he's like, everybody was frantic. He's like, I really wasn't trying to stay around to figure out what was happening. I didn't have my gun on me, so I got the fuck out of there.
Right. I've heard the shadow thing too. I don't buy kids at all. I'm not saying that it necessarily had to be aliens. I'm saying there's definitely more to this story. And the best thing about it is how little attention this thing got. For the amount of fucking police that was called into this thing, I did not hear of this until like just fucking scrolling through Twitter. And then I had to do the old, all right, it's time to get on the internet and look some shit up.
You know what? I'm looking at the one picture. It's not really the amount of cops for me. It's the fact that they all parked on a line.
Right?
That's weird.
It's really weird. The whole thing is really weird.
Like movie shoot?
I've even heard that it was a drill.
Maybe. Well, have you heard of Project Bluebeam?
Yes.
The fake alien invasion? They're saying that people have said on the Twitters that stuff like Vegas and stuff like this are little steps to bring that forward.
What? The actual event or the fake event?
To the actual ultimate event. But these, I guess, are the baby steps leading the way.
To the real ones landing or like a fake?
Fake invasion. Because I think Bluebeam is fake invasion. They're going to figure out a way to facilitate a fake alien invasion to bring about
one world government shit.
One world government, yeah. NWO, bro.
Probably better off anyway.
But I can't speak Mandarin.
You learn.
You won't need to. Your phone will do all the translating for you, or whatever chip they put in your head.
Stop being so correct. How about that?
They'll figure out a way to make it easy on everybody. So easy you won't even want to fight it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely something unnerving about that scene.
Well, the fact that they started declassifying UAPs, this happens, and there's people claiming that there's something extra about it. And
they started the declassification during COVID when no one was fucking paying attention to it.
Yeah, but it's still weird.
I mean, it's not weird.
Like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
That's why they've done it the way that they've done it. Because they want you desensitized to the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So when it does happen, it's not fucking pandemonium.
Well, so I don't pitchfork and torch when they land, like, get out of my country.
Not just that, but like you don't go insane and like fucking take your life because everything you thought you knew was not real.
That happens to me every day.
So like I think it's preparations for when the time comes that
Jesus comes back?
no.
Oh.
I think Jesus was a alien hybrid, but that's again another show.
One of the blonde-haired giants?
No, I don't think he was a blonde-haired giant. I think he was a crossbreed, and that his miracles were just him using telepathic abilities to make people believe that they were seeing what they saw. Again, whole nother show. Whole nother show. So, yeah, look it up, kids. Miami Mall alien incident. It's interesting. Right, Mike? It is interesting.
Yeah, I was just watching video, and it showed about 30 kids running out of the mall.
Yeah.
And they seemed like they were pretty fine like 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
So, to me, that sounds like someone was fucking around, or some of them were stealing some shit, and they caused a distraction. And they sent a police response in there like mad.
Quite the fucking response.
It's a hell of a police response.
There's something off.
It looked like the riot squad. There was enough of them there.
Yeah, it looked off. There's something not right.
All cruisers, too. That was kind of the weird thing, too.
Right?
There's no, like...
that many.
SWAT vehicles or anything. It's just a lot of patrol vehicles.
Right. Whole thing, weird. I think this show was very successful. I think we moved Mike's thoughts of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Seeing what it is, not that it's all like crazy talk, right? You could appreciate that. We came with thoughts and facts and
Yeah, so we all agreed that the first landing video is fake. Nibiru is real.
Stop it.
Aliens are coming from Nibiru, and they landed in the Miami Mall. And they used the satellite to get here to bring Nibiru back. Win.
2 out of your 4 stories convinced me that a thing might have happened.
and that's all I can ask for. Kyle, since you gave yourself the job, technically, I guess, what do you thinking our next show should be about?
Well, I don't know necessarily for the next show, but I think based on how this show went, topic I'd be most like to hear from you guys has to do with the original purpose of NASA. So what's going on at the bottom of the deep blue?
Inner Earth and USOs, huh? We could get it.
Whether there's massive creatures lurking down there, or underwater societies, or
like Schwabland?
Like, why did NASA go from exploring the oceans to exploring outer space?
Well, that sounds like a good show for next time.
Bro.
Also, flat Earth. That's another option.
We're not doing flat Earth. I can't. Not anytime soon. I need to work myself up to flat Earth. Yeah, I'm going to be.
They're convincing.
1,000% clear here. There are things that I definitely believe in, and then there's things that even I, a very open-minded person, think is complete horseshit. And the flat Earth theory, I can't fucking handle. But for the sake of the show, I will listen to some things and read up, and I will come with thoughts and opinions like Nerdities always does.
Mm-hmm. Is that a clue? Is it a cue?
It's a cue.
The opinions of the Nerdies crew, idiotic and points that I would over next week could be far more salting. Fuck bye.
Fuck bye. The truth is potentially out there.
Because of the end of civilization, the Clamp Cable Network now leaves the air. We hope you have enjoyed our programming, but more importantly, we hope you have enjoyed life.